Hello, my dear viewers. I'm glad to be with you today. My name is Olga Demchuk, and I am a researcher of the inner world of personality. Today, I will be filming this video together with my little fox companion. We will also be talking about the ways we emotionally influence one another. I recently had an interesting experience. I observed a mother with her child who was about 6 or 7 years old. This child allowed me to gather in one place all the ways a child can emotionally influence an adult. And when children try to manipulate us, let's not give the word manipulate any negative meaning here. Manipulation is simply influence. They are trying to achieve something through emotional impact on others. So when children try to do this, it usually evokes tenderness in us. But we ourselves try to do the same thing with each other. And it would be helpful to recognize when our partners or friends are trying to influence us in this way. In fact, a person is playing out a scenario, performing some kind of play or production. And the other person, for us, this is always an opportunity to get everything we want without personal growth. You probably remember that fairy tale about the fisherman and the golden fish, about the old woman who realized her life could be improved, and then kept pressuring the old man more and more. Her appetite did not stop. She kept demanding more and more and more. And in the end, she wanted to become a queen and for the golden fish itself to be at her beck and call. That golden fish was exactly that outside object, that other, through which the old woman could obtain comfort and well-being without developing herself. And for us, the other is always an object that possesses some kind of benefit. This is our favorite theory, the idea that you can have everything at once and get it immediately, what I want, without straining or making any effort. And the first method of emotional influence is, look at how good I am. Let's imagine that I need something from the little fox. So I say, "Oh, my little fox, you are so beautiful, your eyes are so lovely, your fur is so gorgeous, your ears are so cute and perky, your little paws are so sweet, and your tail, oh my goodness." I shower the little fox with praise, and she feels good about herself. I give her this sense of goodness, her value, her importance, her significance. Then, after everything I've told her, after all those words, I start to ask her for something. "Could you run to the store and get some salt? I've run out of salt." And my request, in a way, cancels out everything I said before. And I think many of you, when a partner approaches you in the same way, with this same kind of influence, you sometimes even immediately ask, "What do you want? Just tell me what you want." So with this kind of influence, we create a sense of goodness in the other person. And if you want to receive this same sense of goodness from me, then give me what I want. In return, I'll give you the feeling of being good. When a child asks something from a parent, they make a sad face. Look at them, gently stroke them, look up from below, and give them a sense of importance. And this very feeling of being good becomes a moment that some specialists use to their advantage. For example, when a woman is expected to inspire a man, meaning I will be good, and through this inspiration, you will start earning money. Or when a man who hasn't had sex with his wife for a long time comes home with flowers, and just for those flowers, it's assumed she owes him intimacy. And the example of sex illustrates this very clearly when I consider my own goodness to be a sufficient means of influence to get what I want. Just like the woman who inspires her man, or the man who comes home with flowers, or the child who looks up at his mother with hopeful eyes. In other words, getting what you want also depends on someone else. What is this woman's husband capable of? Or does this man's wife even want it? Sex? Or does the mother have the financial means to buy her child what he wants? But it's important to understand that when we are influenced by being given goodness, then when we are deprived of it, we will feel that emptiness. In other words, the drug we were receiving is no longer being supplied. This is when the second method of influence comes into play. This is when the other person takes on the role of the victim. It's as if I were to say to the little fox, "Look how much I'm suffering without salt. Is it really so hard for you to give me some? It's not difficult for you to do this for me, is it? Why don't you want to go get that miserable salt? It hurts me so much that when you need something, I do it, but you don't do the same for me." Here, I'm already taking on the role of the victim, and I'll be making the little fox feel like she's the tormentor. I'll be imposing the role of the bad one on her, the role of the villain, the tyrant, the aggressor, and so on. In other words, I start speaking as if unconsciously. I'm hesitating here, but just a little more, and you'll become that very bad person. And I always appeal to suffering. Look at how much I'm suffering. When I say this, I hope that you're not only thinking about who is manipulating me here, but also recalling moments from your own life. Times when you appealed to suffering, when you used your pain as an argument. It hurts me, give me something so I won't hurt anymore. You are the cause of this pain. And in the way I play the victim next to the little fox, I might withdraw into silence, sigh deeply, and with my whole demeanor show how bad I feel, how much I'm suffering. And she, feeling like she's at fault, should do something to make me feel better. This withdrawal into oneself, the unhappy eyes, and so on and so forth. And if the person cannot withstand the image of the evil tyrant being projected onto them, in our example, onto the little fox, then she will give in and say, "All right, I'll do it. After all, I'm a good person. I don't want to be the villain." The third method of influence is aggression. These usually escalate exponentially, becoming more intense over time. So first we have, "You're good," then, "I'm suffering." And after that, aggression begins. "Give me what I want." And in this demand to give, there are already notes of irritation. Many people think that their dissatisfaction is not aggression, that is, they express their dissatisfaction, and inside, even before aggression appears, there has already been a buildup of tension. And for people whose psyche is unstable and whose emotions are unbalanced, this escalation from "you're good, I'm suffering" to aggression can happen literally within a minute. And at this point, I begin to attack the other person. And these attacks seem absolutely logical to me. To me, they are justified and legitimate. In other words, I have labeled you as the aggressor, and therefore, without losing my own sense of goodness, I am allowed to attack you. You are disgusting. You can never do what I ask. How many times have I already asked you, and you refuse me? I never refuse you. I do everything you say. Here, our victim has now become the aggressor and is exerting influence by projecting negativity. That is the person inside the fox. I've generated it, and now I start dumping it all onto the little fox. So first, my desire is born, then I fail to achieve it in a good way. I show my suffering, and then I start attacking this poor little fox, calling her names, insulting her, and putting pressure on her. Until you give me what I want, you will remain bad, and I won't give you my goodness. People who lack an internal understanding of reality are very susceptible to such manipulations. They cannot withstand this emotional pressure because they do not rely on reality, but rather on what the outside world projects as a reflection of themselves. In other words, the less objective my self-perception is, the more I will depend on these emotional influences. And in relation to the little fox, I may not only show aggression, but when I demonstrate my suffering, since aggression is forbidden to me because I am maintaining a certain good image, I might withdraw or become arrogant. For example, when I ask the little fox for something and she says, "All right, I'll go get the salt," I reply, "Thank you, there's no need, we'll manage without salt." And in this arrogance, I will feel like a saint for not expressing my aggression, but the person next to me will feel worthless. I think many people have memories of such moments. When you feel worthless because you didn't give me what I wanted, you have done this to others, and others have done this to you. and I hope your memory will bring these situations to mind. So, the feeling of one's own sanctity and arrogance. Many people generate their desire, and then they generate this sense of goodness. And this goodness, which when I said, you're a good little fox, you have such nice fur, they perceive as self-sacrifice. That is, as soon as I start playing up to the little fox, she starts to owe me. The fact that I praise her is seen as me sacrificing myself to her. And because of this, because I have sacrificed myself, although for what I want, but I don't realize it, I feel that I have given a lot. There is this tendency to overestimate what we give and to undervalue what others give us. And my sacrifice, so I praised her and showed how much it hurt me that she didn't do it. I consider her a complete nobody while I walk around feeling superior and, for example, speak through clenched teeth. And many people think this way, that they are saving their marriage. They stay silent, they don't express themselves, they don't argue, but this tension still grows, or it saves the relationship. And let me remind you of a great example about sex. For instance, when someone gives you compliments in order to get it, then says, "Look how much I suffer because you don't want to have sex with me." And then they start insulting you, saying you're disgusting, or, for example, frigid, or a man is told that he is impotent. So this unfulfilled desire torments the person themselves, and they attack with it, but they don't realize this and begin to attack the other person in response. And in relation to the little fox, I can become not only sweet, showing pain, aggressive or arrogant, but also vengeful. That is when I don't deal with my own internal processes. But I remember that she is bad, that she didn't give me what I wanted. And this vengefulness shows up in other situations. When the little fox asks me, "Will you pour me some milk?" And I say, "Oh, I'm not in the mood right now," or "I don't have time," while thinking to myself, I'm still holding on to that situation with the salt. And people often accumulate such a huge amount of unspoken grievances in relationships that the relationship simply can't withstand that weight and it collapses. Because if a person voices something to the little fox might say something in return. But when I stay silent, I can be arrogant, self-sacrificing, consider myself better, and not hear anything directed at me. In other words, this honest conversation that could have happened, I don't initiate it, but I keep stewing over everything inside. And it often happens that, for example, spouses don't argue, but then suddenly, as if opening the Augean stables, everything that's been piling up for many years, even decades, starts to spill out. In other words, a person accumulates these things, faults, other negative traits, just to look good against that background. And what is your favorite way of emotionally influencing others? From the ones listed? Or perhaps you can add something of your own, something original to this list. Let's bring this into our awareness and try, in relation to others, not to use it. But if we do, let's understand that these are our own processes. And let's learn to recognize when other people do this to us. Now, regarding how this happens in contact, in communication, and with such manipulations, we will discuss this in more detail at the School of Communication, which will begin in mid-August. The school is already available on the website olgademchuk.org, where you can read the detailed program and register to participate. And for those who have recently joined, I'd like to remind you that there are also videos for sponsors and psychoanalysis online. You can send in your question and I will answer it there. All of this can be found in the recordings section. There are recording sections on the YouTube channel as well, or perhaps notes as they might be called. And you can find everything there. Well, I will say goodbye for now. Please leave your comments and see you next time.